Is it happening? I think it is. It says I'm 16 seconds in. Hey everybody, Mac here. While you guys are getting settled in, or I guess joining this YouTube live session, just gonna do a little intro. Hi, I'm Mac. I'm currently in Southern California, and today kind of just wanted to go over what it all has happened, I guess, since the outbreak of the US COVID-19, and just kind of how that's affected us, how we're adjusting, and all that fun stuff. And then we'll move into some more upbeat questions and things that you guys have. But this is the first time I am doing a live stream with Owen's help, because he was on the other side of the country last time that we did this, and so he is going to be moderating all of the stuff that's coming in online. And so when we get to that portion, he'll be feeding me questions. And the last time I was using my cell phone, and it was like the little suction cup thing wasn't working, and so the camera was constantly falling and stuff. So this is hopefully going to go a lot better than last time. I'm really setting this up to be good, so hopefully that's the case. All right. Hi guys. Before we really get into the nuts and bolts about what's happening with us, I just want to say that I hope that each and every one of you are doing well. I hope you're emotionally well. I hope you're physically well. I hope your family's well. I hope your pets are well. I hope that everything is going as well as it possibly could be. And I hope you're in high spirits. So take care of yourselves out there, because shit's kind of weird right now. But all we can do is get through it together, take care of one another, and move on and be better after all of this is said and done. So I think that I'm going to start maybe about 3 weeks back. We were in northern Arizona, and things were starting to look a little serious as far as the coronavirus in the United States. And we were initially feeling very strongly that we were just going to ride out the storm, parked somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. Because the thing is, social distancing is really easy for us. We actually kind of do it all the time. And we only really spend a lot of time around people that we're camping with, that we're choosing to meet up with. So we kind of felt like we had it pretty good, I guess. And then we decided to, I think it was, we spent a weekend out with our friends Carissa and Lindbergh of GonDirtin on Instagram. And we asked them, we saw that they were in the area, we asked them to come join us, and which in retrospect was kind of a mistake, because we dragged them into our lives for the foreseeable future by asking them that. And 3 hours later, they met up with us, and we have actually been together ever since. So at this rate, I think that we've already been together for a full month, which has actually been an absolute joy, all things considered. So we decided to see how a weekend was going to go in isolation, and we found a really remote, beautiful spot. We had done a pretty heavy grocery shop, and then over the course of that weekend, things just started to get progressively worse, and we were starting to feel a little bit less easy about our accessibility to resources. Because when you boil all of this down, our camper, all of that stuff, we have 20 gallons of water, 20 pounds of propane, roughly 3 days worth of refrigerated food, and then we can carry a good bit of food on top of that, but we're still limited by how much space that we physically have. And so we decided to do another grocery shop, and that is when we started to find complete aisles knocked out. And also we've started to become hyper aware of the fact that we were an added strain on a really small town. The people who live there, in our opinion, have rights to that food before we do. And the thing is, we're not a local anywhere, so we just started to feel like we were in this weird limbo and weren't really sure what to do. So we only bought what we thought we needed for about 2 weeks and went back out, still with Carissa and Lindbergh. And over the course of the next 2 days, things started to get really serious, and that was when California announced their lockdown. And I think that at that point, the state of Oregon had shut down most of their public land, and that was when I would say the height of our vulnerability was starting to be realized. Because we can be off the grid. we are always off the grid. But because of our lack of ability to carry a lot of resources, we are still needing to rely on services a lot more regularly than maybe somebody who lives in a house, because you can then store more resources. So that was when we made the decision that we needed to start looking into some other options. And Carissa and Lindbergh, the sweethearts that they are, initially yards, and we would never want to put ourselves on them for some undetermined amount of time. But the alternative was going back to family in Florida, and that was over 30 plus hours of driving away. And it was kind of this weird point where we didn't want to overreact, but we also didn't want to underreact. But we also were trying to keep an eye on what our plans are for the rest of the year. And so we ended up making the final decision to follow Lindbergh and Carissa home, and they very graciously have created this really great spot for us in their backyard. We're very nestled in here amongst palm trees and different fruit trees, and I am very lucky to say that we've been extremely comfortable since we've been here. And we didn't realize that the level of stress and anxiety had just constantly been escalating to the point where we were completely ineffective at getting any sort of work done, because it just felt like every waking moment of our day was just dedicated to trying to figure out if we were going to lose access to water, if we were going to lose access to grocery stores. Being that we work on the internet, we only have so much of that. We were about to lose access to libraries and all of that good stuff. So by coming here, the minute we got here, it just felt like this massive weight had been lifted off of us, because we were no longer worrying where those basic necessities were coming from. We were able to then switch focuses towards work, family, friends, staying healthy, staying fit, and not just stressing about everything every moment of every day. Because when you live on the road, there is always this level of constant strategizing that's happening, because even when there isn't a global pandemic happening, you are having to keep an eye on how much water do we have, how much propane do we have, when's the next time we're going to need to go to a grocery store, do we have enough food to do all these things that we're wanting to do before we hit another town. And that is just absolutely blown out of proportion. Not out of proportion, it's proportionately blown, but to an overwhelming extent when you add a global pandemic to all of that. So now we're here in SoCal, living quite well with Carissa and Lindbergh. Lindbergh is an absolutely incredible cook and has been feeding us way better than we deserve to eat through this whole thing. But it's been really fun to collaborate on food and resources with them. Carissa and I have been doing all sorts of really fun exercise classes. We've been doing a lot of like fitness classes on the TV, yoga in the backyard. I've been going on regular runs. So it's been really nice. I think that morale would be a lot lower if we were alone. I think that by having the four of us together, we're a nice balance of like when one of us is freaking out, the other ones are able to bring everybody down. And they're also creatives and work in a very similar field to us. They're both professional commercial automotive photographers, and so we all work the same, and it's really nice to be in the presence of like-minded creativity in a time like this, because I think that we've all been really productive with our newfound free time, which there's a lot of it. As far as the future is concerned, we did cancel our group trip to Costa Rica. We just felt like now is not the time for people to be worrying about travel and extracurricular activities. This is a time where we all need to focus on taking care of ourselves and our family and friends. And so we just kind of wanted to remove that as a stress for ourselves and for anybody else. It really, like, not the time, not the place. Will we do something like that again in the future? I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I'm gonna probably say no as far as international travel, at least for the foreseeable future, just because we have our own international travel plans. Hopefully, if things all go to plan, I can't even say that. But just, I think that if we're gonna be international starting next year, it would be too much to organize and strategize from afar. But if things clear up and we are free to move about the country, I think that we are talking about doing something domestic. I think that that would be really fun, especially since we are potentially going to be leaving our US community starting next year. I think it would be really fun to have like some sort of little gathering and do some things that we really care about together as a group. So we'll see. We have lots of time to figure out if that is even going to be feasible. But our US travel plans for this year, our intentions are to go to Alaska this year. The reason why we wiped our calendar clear was we wanted to give ourselves as much space as humanly possible in our year to be up there while the weather is good, because Alaska's, I would say, overlanding season is pretty specific. So we wanted to be up there for every stinking day of it that we could be there. So we'll see how that goes. Our plan was to cross over into Canada to take the coastal route in mid to late May. I don't think that that's going to happen. But by quarantining ourselves on the West Coast, we were doing that in hopes of preserving our ability to go to Alaska. So we're still trying to stay focused on that. We're still hoping that we can make that happen, because I think that in a time like this, it's really important to be really vigilant about goals and things that you're wanting to do in the future, just because you need to have that sort of light at the end of the tunnel, something to focus on that is a positive. So hopefully that happens. And then after that, for next year, we're hoping that our international plans do not follow through. We're not quite in the place to talk about them yet, just because there is so much unknown in the air. Our work has changed a bit since all of the coronavirus stuff happened. We had a bunch of work on the calendar for the next couple of months. All of those projects did get canceled because they were things that we were going to need to be in person for, and that is a bummer and is scary to see income that we had guaranteed, because income is never guaranteed as a freelancer or as a designer. So it was really scary to see those projects get wiped off the calendar, but we've been really, really lucky that we have had a bunch of projects come in since we came here, all of which are more design based. But in the meantime, while we're working on those things, we're going to use all of our free time to keep creating videos for you guys, which will hopefully be crazy entertaining, because we're really entertaining people. No, but just YouTube has been a really great outlet for us. We really enjoy making things that are informative and helpful for people to get you guys closer to your own adventures. Be it through like the more vlog style, so you can just see what day-to-day life is concerned or is like, and then more of the informative stuff, which is my favorite, because that's how I use YouTube, is for informative things. So that's why I like to give back those types of things, because that is how I personally use YouTube. But other than that, let's see, I took notes. Wanted to see if I covered everything that I wanted to. Okay, so one thing that somebody did ask was what our favorite meal has been since we've been here that Lindbergh has cooked for us. And I have to say that every single meal has been amazing. But one of our favorite ones was probably Buddha jjigae. It's a Korean one? Korean dish, I believe. Oh my gosh, so good. It was a cold day. It was amazing. Otherwise, he made some incredibly delicious shrimp enchiladas. I mean, the man is talented. Check out GonDirtin is their Instagram, at GonDirtin. They're incredible people, incredibly talented photographers, and Lindbergh is an incredibly talented chef. So we've been so lucky to be here for so many reasons. Okay, so a lot of people were curious about what we eat on the road. So I am segueing. Oh, and I'm segueing into questions. I have a couple here.
I've got two.
You've got two? Here, go ahead and give me a question, and then I'll move it back into some of these. We'll switch.
Shannon asked.
Hi, Shannon.
How we prepared Luna for the road. She's trying to prepare 2 cats for living.
Oh, 2 cats. Awesome. For living. Okay, so Shannon asked how we prepared Luna for living on the road. It sounds like she's got 2 cats that she is preparing. Start small. Start small. Start in your own car or your own RV if you have it. That's great. If not, any car will work. We just started doing really short and easy drives with Luna. We would just like run to the store and somebody would stay in the car with her. Because Luna, we really tried to make her work in our first vehicle, which was a Volkswagen Vanagon 4 years ago. And it was so loud, she just never was really into it. So the reason why I would say that she's working out so well in this vehicle is because the truck is quiet when it's driving, more so than our noisy ass Vanagon. But I think starting small, and if they're not familiar with being outside, again, start small. For Luna, we never ever forced her to go outside. It was, we would leave the door open, we would stand outside with her and sit with our chairs, and we would encourage her to come out, but we would always let her tell us when she was ready for the next step, or she'd go out and she'd be out for like 30 seconds the first couple of times. We put her right back in. But I think that by keeping it on their terms, they're always going to be, cats are very independent creatures and they want to feel like they're the ones in charge of making all the decisions. So we just let her do that. And it's been pretty incredible how well she has adjusted to life on the road. And then because our cab and our truck is separate, she does ride in the cab with us. And then we bring her back here into the camper when we're hanging out, or if we're out running errands, she's in here. But since actually we've been here at Carissa and Lindbergh's house, we just leave our door open. Their backyard is fenced in and she is like queen of the backyard. She loves it. So start small, baby steps, small car rides, go to bigger car rides. And then when you do inevitably hit the road, start small, because that's a huge adjustment in going to like that space, being their own space full time. We tried to do really short drives for that first couple of weeks that we were on the road with Luna, just because we didn't want to like terrify her and scar her, so she would never get used to it. Start small on all accounts. That is my advice. All right, I'm gonna read one of the questions I have here. So I've gotten a lot of questions about the type of food that we eat on the road and what recipes and stuff that we use. Obviously right now is not a good time to dispense such information to you, but what I will say is that we do have some go-to meals and the way that like we strategize how we choose our meals. And I think that that is a subject for a totally separate video. If you guys are also interested in more recipe focused videos, they'd probably be short, just like little how-tos. Let us know, because we're always looking for ideas, things to do. So that could be kind of cool, but I would say that the overlying structure of the way that we plan for our food in a normal real world scenario, which is not now, we try to buy food every 3 to 4 days. And so we can carry 3 days worth of cold refrigerated items, and we try to have all of the meals that we're going to use over those 3 to 4 days to use similar ingredients, but try to be totally different meals. So when we go to the grocery store, everything is gone. Like our refrigerator is completely empty, because we can't have like half of we just like don't have room for a lot of leftovers. So we really try to make sure that everything is getting used every time. And we also try not to be wasteful. So it always sucks to have something go bad before you can get to it. But we typically don't have that problem, because we just don't buy that much food. And usually the last day before we go to the grocery store, we're running on fumes. So we're eating like all the random stuff that we have laying around. So yeah, that's that question. Okay, Owen, you got another one for me?
I do.
Let's hear it.
Alicia wants to know what your favorite workout video has been during the quarantine.
Oh, sorry, Luna. Sorry, I just scared the shit out of the cat. Okay, so my favorite, Alicia wants to know what our favorite workouts have been, video workouts have been since coming into this whole weird doing workout at home thing. DoYogaWithMe.com is an amazing resource. It's been around for years and I have used it for a really long time for yoga classes. Great, free, you can customize like how long you want it to be. Down Dog is great. It is normally a paid app. It is free for the next 2 to 3 months because of quarantine. The Peleton app is also free right now. And so we've been doing like dance fitness classes. And if you need a morale boost, do a dance fitness class. Seriously, I have no idea what I'm doing. I look like an idiot. But you know what? It's super fun. And I think that just like having like upbeat music to dance to, it, even if it's not a good workout, which I'm pretty sure it is because I'm always profusely sweating when I'm done, it just feels nice to like dance and laugh at yourself. It's a morale boost in its own right. But otherwise, YouTube has been a great resource. Chris is really good at finding classes on YouTube. I could probably assemble a little list for you guys and then put it in the description when this inevitably goes like onto our channel or whatever. But yeah, YouTube, Down Dog, Peleton App, doyogawithme.com are all great resources. And the great thing about Peloton in particular is there's run classes where you can just put it in and listen, and somebody's like telling you like when to pick up the pace. They have dance classes, they have abs, they have cardio, they have weights, like everything. But we've also talked about putting together like a little circuit station thing and doing that in the backyard, which we have yet to do, but I would really like to do that. I think it'd be fun. Get some like jump roping, some good music, and then do that. All right. I have another question here. Good Games for Two, which is a great resource to have right now. We really love a lot of card games. We have standard decks of cards, which you can use for any assortment of games. But we really love Monopoly Deal, the card game. I would say that we probably use that the most of anything. I've actually seen it at the gas station before, so it's really easy to come by. Walmart has it. It's not hours and hours to play. It is, I think that 15 minutes or less a hand. So we usually play best of 5. And I really, really, really love that game. It's a good one. And then another one that I would recommend if you want some knowledge or to learn about more national parks, National Park Trivial Pursuit. It comes in this really cool little, I would get it for you, but it's underneath the seat I'm sitting in. That is an amazing game. It'll make you feel like a complete and total idiot. I am very proud of how many national parks, recreation areas, monuments and stuff like that that we've seen, and we are continuously learning about new ones, and also just like learning the history of places that we've already been to that we had no idea. So National Park Edition Trivial Pursuit is a great one. You got a question? If not, I have another one.
I do.
Okay, let's hear it.
John Harvey asked, what advice do you have for a first-time overlander? And yeah, because he's getting a high-rise topper for his Toyota and getting ready to build a bed frame.
Oh, sweet. John Harvey?
Yes.
John Harvey. Okay, so you're about to question for first-time overlanding. Any advice that we would give? Sounds like you've got a Tacoma and are putting a top on it. That's amazing. I think that this is never advice that people want to hear, but it is the number one piece of advice that I think that, because I was given this advice and I didn't listen, but it's start simple. Roll with what you got. Do what you can with what you have. And I would say that that is for anybody who's wanting to travel on the road, be it full-time or otherwise, because the thing is, you can't learn the stuff that you need to learn by being at home. Like, you need to learn what you need to learn, like how you operate, how you travel, how long you can go without being in towns, because everybody travels differently. I could sit here and tell you until I am blue in the face how we do it, but it's not going to work for you. So you really just have to do trial and error, go out there, start simple, and then elaborate based on how you travel. For instance, we know people who've been traveling for years and they have a cooler and they're fine with that. But I have had a cooler, I have not had coolers, and I know that for me personally, I can't live without a trucker fridge because of the way that we travel, the way that we eat. That is the one piece of gear that like I can't really live without. So it's, you need to just like learn your orders of operations. But as far as like specific overland travel is concerned, I would say start simple on the trails, because if you don't have a whole lot of off-road driving experience, the best way to do that is to go out and like slowly progress through things that are a little bit harder. Because the thing is, I don't have any off-road experience. It was literally just going out in our van again, which is basically two-wheel drive, kind of, not really though. And trial and error, getting stuck, finding out how to get out of it. And just like learning to drive what you have will make you a better driver. You don't have to have a rear differential locker to travel. You just don't. You just need to have a car, and you need to know how to drive your car. So I would just say by going out and getting experience, starting simple in every facet of the word is what I would advise. And then I would say, as far as when living in a tiny space is concerned, narrow down your belongings and then cut them in half again. Because we're still doing that to this day. 4 years in, we're still managing to get rid of stuff. In fact, I have an entire pile of clothes in our driver's seat right now that I just need to get rid of, because it's amazing how little you really need. And you don't know that until you get out here and are continually eliminating things. Okay, I have another question written down. Oh, I actually kind of covered one of these already, which was, how do you decide what's essential for life on the road? And really and truly, a lot of it depends on what you do for work, or if you do anything for work. For us, we have a ton of camera gear. You would not need that, and it looks really excessive, but for us, we need that. And then I think that you also need to prioritize what kind of activities that you like to do on the road. For instance, you know, we surf, climb, we have spearfishing stuff, we have backpacking gear, so we can do more long format backpacking trips. So you really just need to like make priorities based on the things that you want to do when you're traveling. And I think that a lot of that will also dictate if you do end up changing vehicles later down the road. Like, we will always need to make sure that we keep in mind the activities that we do if we're ever changing vehicles, and we've done that every single time we've changed vehicles up until this point. So that is that. Do you have any questions? Because if not,
I do.
Okay, let's hear it.
Marissa wants to know what our go-to camera is for daily photos.
Marissa, what our go-to camera is for day-to-day photos. So Owen and I originally started with two separate Sony cameras. I was using the Sony A6300, and you were on the A7R. Is that what you're using, Owen?
Sorry, I'm not listening.
I can tell. What camera? You were on the Sony A7R originally, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and both of those cameras were great. I think the A6300 is amazing if you don't take a ton of photos all of the time. It's small, it's compact, it's relatively inexpensive, and it performs amazingly well. Since then, last year we actually did a complete and total overhaul on our camera systems, and now we both have the same camera. So we have two Sony A7 IIIs, right? What cameras do we have now?
A7 III.
A7 III. Okay, I do have it right. I just they all get mixed up in my mind.
I answered that question, sorry.
So anyways, we do have, we each have one, which is kind of weird coming from having two separate cameras, because we each had a camera that excelled at something in particular. But now we can, oh, my light just turned off. Now it's more of, I'll have something a wide lens on mine, and he'll have something a little bit narrower on his. But I think that any of like the 6000 series of Sony is a great everyday camera, and it's compact. So I still to this day love that camera, and kind of miss it.
You good? You need a question.
I'll take another one.
Karen asks, how important is knowledge of vehicle repair for overlanding? I feel that is my weakness.
So Karen is asking how important vehicle repair is?
Knowledge of vehicle
repair. Okay, so I feel like a lot of that is something that you can learn as you go. I would say if you are going to have any knowledge at all, which I do believe that you should, you need to know how to change your own tire. That is important. You need to make sure that you have a spare that can handle the types of roads that you're doing. So we carry a full spare, because the thing is, if we had a donut, it's not even possible, because we have larger tires. Like, we have to have a full size spare, know how to change your tire, know how to plug a hole in your tire. I think that tire stuff is probably typically I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Know how to change your own oil. That's important. A lot of the other stuff, the bigger things, I think come with time. I think that it also depends on what vehicle you have. I am so sorry. I love Vanagons. I want another one day, but I'm going to talk shit about them for a quick second. I think that we know as much as we do about vehicles because we had a vehicle that broke down all the time. And I think that it sucks that that knowledge came about that way, but I do think that we're very thankful for that knowledge because it's obviously helped us going forward. But I think that those are the kind of things that you just need to be open to learning as time goes on based on what you need. But otherwise, I think it's good to know the basic upkeep type things, how to change all your fluids or how to add fluids, how to change your tire, and the rest will come with time. Because really at the end of the day, like, you don't need to know how to swap a transmission out. That's just like not normal day human being things. Unless you own a van again, and you should probably know how to do that, or be pretty close. So yeah, it depends on your vehicle, but know the basics and the rest will come, because as long as you can know those things, you can typically get yourself to where you can be somewhere to have somebody fix anything that's more serious than that. Let's see.
Do you need another question?
I have a question right here that I'm going to answer. So somebody asked how or if I felt like I could handle this vehicle by myself if I was a solo female traveler. Yes, I could. But would I? No. This is a lot of vehicle for one person. If it was just me, this is not what I would own. It's just a lot. But I have done it before. I did it for a month while Owen was gone with no problem. You just need to be able to pop up the top by yourself. And the other thing is that this is an incredibly modern vehicle. Everything is under warranty. And so it hardly ever needs anything. And if it does, it's an oil change. And I just take it to the dealership because they're free. So yes, I could, but would I? No, I would do something a lot more simple, probably a lot smaller too, for one person. All right. Got a question?
I do.
Let's hear it.
Dawn asked, what was the most beautiful picturesque place you've been?
Oh, that's a hard question. So Dawn's asking what the most beautiful picturesque place that we've ever been. I have come to realize since living on the road that despite the fact that I had zero experience with the desert, I'm a huge sucker for the desert. In fact, I feel like I was always meant to live in the desert. So I would say, it's so hard. I'm gonna say northern Arizona, southern Utah, just because it's fast, it's open, it's beautiful. There's a lot of the things that we like to do minus surfing, you can do there. So that place, when I am not there, I feel like is the one that my heart always goes back to. So, okay, I'm gonna answer a question that I have written down, and then I will have exhausted all of the questions that I personally have. Okay, somebody asked what our favorite comfort foods, shows, and movies are, and perhaps this is a good time to share these things if you have some free time. Comfort food, anything Asian for me. What's some comfort food for you?
I don't know.
I'm trying to think. Tacos, street tacos, always are a good comfort food. Otherwise, like road snacks, we're big pretzel and kombucha people. So I would put those in the comfort food category, and cookies or any desserts really. Okay, so comfort shows, number one is The Office. The number of times that we have watched The Office cover to cover is insane. So The Office, Arrested Development, Parks and Recreations. I'm trying to think. But I would say that those are the three that we revisit all the time. South Park is always good for a good laugh. Futurama is we really like Futurama as well. And movies, Fast and the Furious, that's it. Beginning, middle, and end. We bought all of the Fast and the Furious movies, and it might have been my most proud purchase as an adult. So that is the only answer I have for comfort movies. Okay, you have another question?
Yes. Scott asked, do you see many people doing what you're doing alone, like solo travelers?
So Scott's asking if we see a lot of solo travelers. Yes, absolutely. I would say that we see more male solo travelers, but I would say increasingly so women, which is really awesome to see. But yeah, I would say absolutely. I think that a lot of times maybe they're not necessarily full-time. They're going out for a year or some prescribed amount of time, just because there is a huge upfront commitment that has to happen to make this full-time and sustainable. And so typically I would say that we've met a lot of really, really awesome solo travelers along the way. Aiden Clemenco, who we've done a lot of videos on recently, is one person that immediately comes to mind. I'm trying to think who some of the other ones are that we have seen recently. I don't know. Put me on the spot. Okay. We got another question.
Yeah. In our interview with Aiden,
yes.
You said you would have done things differently with our present rig. Have you guys thought about changing again?
Oh, okay. Coming in hot. You're gonna make me start sweating here. So, who asked that?
Jay.
So Jay asked about, so in our interview, we talked about the fact that we would have done things differently with our current vehicle. So this is not a well-known fact, but Owen and I actually looked at the Troopy that Aiden has before he bought it and thought about buying it. Jorge and Jessica, our friends, Live, Work, Wander, were the ones who found it, and we were on the market and we're looking at Troopies at the time, but there was a couple of things about it that we didn't love, and we didn't see it in person, we just saw it in a video. And I think that retroactively I regret passing on that vehicle just because the price point was less than half of this. And somebody did want us to touch on how much we paid for this, and I'll get to that. I think that this vehicle is perfect for what we're doing right now. I solidly believe that. It's comfortable, it's got plenty of room for work, but I think that we have very frequently come back to the fact that this was very expensive. We did pay for this. I want to make that abundantly clear. We paid for this, we paid for both parts. So we have a truck loan, we have a camper loan, of which we are very thankful. We were able to put our payments on hold for the next 3 months while things are being weird. But so we have a small mortgage essentially on this vehicle. I think for now we're very, very comfortable with what we have, and we love it, and we don't want to change. I'm never gonna say never, because the thing is, I think that because we've owned so many vehicles, we don't really have an attachment anymore. It's more of, we want the right tool for the right job. And so if the job changes, you know, come international travel, I don't know that we will take this with us because it's crazy expensive to ship. So I think that we're keeping our options open, but as long as we're here in the United States, this is gonna be the vehicle that we're gonna have. So, but what that would be if we switched, we're always on the market for a troop carrier. I will make that explicitly clear. So yeah, we paid $100,000 for this vehicle. When you put the truck, the camper, well, we didn't pay for it, the bank technically speaking owns it, but the grand total was $100K for the two pieces, and then all of the aftermarket upgrades that we did to compensate for weight and recovery gear and all those things, because those things are very important. Recovery gear is very important. I do feel like I need to stress that, because it's insurance for yourself and anybody you're traveling with, or even anybody that you come across. We have had too many situations with previous vehicles where we got ourselves stuck or into situations that we could not recover ourselves from, and we relied on the kindness of those that we were traveling with, or people that just so happened to come driving around the corner, which happened more times than I care to recount at this moment. So I think that we put a lot of money in recovery gear in this vehicle as our way of paying it forward for all the help that we've had in the past. And we have only ever used our winch on other people. So, yay. You have any more questions?
I do.
Okay.
Let's see. Kelsey asked, how do you handle gift giving and holidays or events surrounding gift giving? I'm constantly trying to minimize / downsize, but family and friends have a hard time respecting the no gift rules.
Oh my God, that's an amazing. Who's asked that?
Kelsey.
Okay, so Kelsey was asking a question about wanting to minimize and how that works around holidays where gift giving is a thing. This is something that we have been working on for 4 years, and we have incredibly generous and kind family members who want to give gifts. And the thing is, this is, okay, where do I begin with this? So we, since going on the road, have, if we ask if people are going to give us Christmas presents, which is absolutely not expected. But if they are, that it be something that we need, because the thing is, like, we have everything that we need. And I honestly can say that I have everything I want. So I feel like it just is more like boiling it down to necessity things. So I actually ask for stasher bags, like things that help me be, that help us be more zero waste. So stasher bags, which are the reusable, like Ziploc alternatives, bees wraps, the things that you can use to cover food, biodegradable trash bags that we use in our little tiny trash can. I ask for really specific things, or I ask for donations to charities that we care about. So one of the ones is called the Coral Gardeners, and they plant heads of coral, and like in people's honor. Then there's also the Ocean Foundation, which helps offset carbon footprints by planting seagrass, which I believe is 30% more effective at removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere than trees in the same square footage. So we asked for donations, and this year that is what we gave to people. We did all sorts of, I also made like zero waste kits that I gave to my family members that were reusable utensils, reusable produce bags, and kind of gave them a lesson on how we use them to help them be more zero waste. But otherwise, I was like, full stop, like, we do not need anything, like, there is no place for it. So we really just kind of, Whole Foods gift cards, we just asked for like gift cards to grocery stores and things like that if people wanted to give us something. So I think that turning the gift giving more in the direction of practical or philanthropic is the best way to go about that. So yeah, thanks to my parents for putting up with me and my weird requests. So any more questions?
Lots.
Okay, lots of questions. Okay, I'm gonna try to not be so windy.
Okay. Mike asked, we're a family of 3. Do you think that a Hawk would be big enough for us? They're currently in a pop-top Astro van.
Okay, so a Hawk for a family of 3. So the Hawk, flatbed? Slide in.
I don't think he specified.
Okay, that's fine. Mike?
Yes.
Okay, so Mike is asking, he's got a family of 3, and he's wondering if a Hawk 4-wheel camper would work for him. They have a high-top Astro van right now. I absolutely think that that would be the case. So the bed, so we have a Hawk, so it's based on the width. We sleep, the 2 of us, up above the cab, and then where I'm currently sitting right now also becomes a bed. And this is a perfectly reasonable sized bed. Owen and I have actually both slept on it. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world, but so if you're a family of 3, this would be a perfect size for you guys. It's amazing. And the thing is, when you're spending time in a camper, like, we really actually live outside, but we sleep in here. So it's not a ton of floor space, but it's bigger than anything else we've ever had. So I think that a family of 3 would be perfect in here. Any more questions?
Yes.
Let's hear it.
Let's see. Scott asks if you could put a number on a certain amount of money that okay, never mind. Scott, we're going to get to that in the next video on Tuesday.
Okay, so something to look forward to. It sounds like this on Tuesday we have a video coming out, and it's how much it costs to live on the road, and I break down everything and all 3 of our vehicles based on because the vehicle really dictates how much it costs to live on the road. Okay. So Tuesday.
Heath asked, how do you guys balance what to record and what not to so that there can be a public and private life separate?
That's an amazing question. Okay, so Heath is wondering how we balance what we record and what we don't. So I would say that we're pretty new to the vlogging stuff. We were very hesitant about vlogging. I like it because I think that our personalities don't come across in the how-to videos, but those videos are not about us. They're about transmitting information. I think with the vlog style stuff, we did that series where we were going to SEMA last year, and we were using it as kind of like a test for how we just did it. We didn't really ask questions. We didn't really get too technical about it. We did it, and then we took some time afterwards, a break, to kind of talk about it and figure out where we wanted to fall on that spectrum. I think that when you're vlogging, it takes a lot away from the overall quality of your experience with what you're doing, which is really unfortunate. But it's also a really fun way to tell a story, and even for us to look back on. And so I think that the balance that we've decided to strike is that we're not going to shoot vlogs unless it's a super specific trip that we want to share. We have actually filmed stuff in locations that we are not really willing to like shed too much light on. Like, it was just like, it ended up being an experience that like we wanted to share for ourselves. And so we filmed something with it, but we're never going to do anything with that footage, because I think at the end of the day, like, we're traveling for ourselves, which is selfish, but accurate. And I think that, you know, we just need to strike a balance that's healthy for us. Owen doesn't love being on camera, and so I think that we're also not wanting to do a ton of that because it's not really his thing. So yeah, I think it's more of just like finding a balance of what feels good to you and what doesn't. And for us, I think it's, you know, we don't really film a lot in here because we don't think it's very interesting. Like, we're just like making dinner and like hanging out with the cat and stuff. So I think that we are only trying to share things that we feel like have the validity and deserve to exist. And so maybe that isn't what everybody, like, I don't know, maybe that isn't the same definition for everybody, but what we put forward is the stuff that we feel like deserves to be out in the world. I don't know if that even answered the question, but it's an ever-adjusting scale. We're still figuring that out, but we just want to make sure, to make YouTube sustainable, you have to be doing it for the right reasons. And so I think that we're still working on what those right reasons are and trying to make sure that we're unflinchingly rigid about them, just because we want to maintain a good experience for us as well. So.
You ready?
Yeah.
Kevin asked, how did you guys meet, and whose idea was it initially to start living on the road?
You claim this idea, don't you?
I do.
Okay. So Kevin?
Yes.
Kevin wants to know how we met and how we decided to go on the road and whose idea was. Okay. So we met in college. We were on the swim team together. Owen was 2 grades above me, so I was a freshman when he was a junior. And we started dating pretty quickly after I came to college. And we've essentially been together ever since. We've been married for almost 5 years now, which is crazy. But whose idea it was, Owen, as he mentioned, claims this idea. It was actually an idea that my parents came up with a long time ago. They went on the road after college before my dad's first assignment in the Army. And it was like a couple of week road trip, and they talked about that trip, still to this day talk about that trip. And I think that I grew up hearing about it. Owen was really fascinated by the idea, and we both thought it would be a really great opportunity to kind of go shopping for a new place to live. And so I think it was about 3 or 4 days after I graduated from college, we took our savings account, which was about $6,000, a bunch of hand-me-down camping gear from my parents, and my Honda Element, and we went for about 6 months, I think it was, all around the country. And we were like shopping for a new place to live, but the economy was in the tank. It was 2012, so nobody was hiring us. Are you kidding me? So we just ran out of money, and then we went back to Atlanta. And then we realized, it was like about 2 years later, that we really had fallen in love with being on the road and the movement. And so this is the 2.0 version. We just realized when we came to the realization that we wanted to do it again, that we needed to make it sustainable. And so this is that 2.0 sustainable version, 4 years in. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Question me. Thanks for moderating. You're doing a great job.
John and Amber asked, my wife and I are looking to get a Hawk truck camper. Would you recommend getting the toilet option? And do you like the dining table on the side or the option where it's towards the front?
What did we decide?
We like the front dinette.
We like the front. Okay. So we like the front dinette to answer. So I'm not sure if you heard, somebody's asking about the different options in a Hawk four-wheel camper. If it's a slide-in, you get to choose where your dinette is, and we love the front dinette. So the one that's closest to the bed. I feel like it gives you the most open floor space, usable floor space. Really, really comfortable in there. And then they were asking if we recommend the toilet or not. And I am going to go as far as to say that maybe we're not the right people to ask that question to, because we have never had a toilet since we've been on the road in any of our vehicles. And the one that had it was the Sunraider, and we ripped it out and turned it into a table. Not the toilet, but the bathroom area. So I think that we have chosen not to get one ever because it is harder to find a place to manage, because that is black water. And a lot of times you have to pay to deal with that. And personally, like, who wants to tote their own shit around? It's gross. I hate it. I don't do it. We have a shovel, and that's enough. But then again, we spend a lot of time in super remote areas, so we just don't have to worry about that. We just dig a hole. This is a message approved by Mac about pooping. Okay.
Okay. Noelle asks, eco-friendly and hair-friendly tips for living on the road. I think there is a video too that also covers this.
No, because I had not found hair products that I liked back then. So, okay. So Noelle is asking about eco-friendly, travel-friendly hair products. So the last time we did a video about on the products that we use for cleaning, hygiene, I had not found anything that we liked as far as shampoo is concerned that is biodegradable, because everything that we do that could potentially end up on the ground, I am a very big stickler about being biodegradable. And so I have since found hair stuff that I like. And it is the shampoo and conditioner bars by Ethic. I have been wanting to do a product review of them. I've actually been wanting to do product reviews in general. So if you guys are interested in that, I'll let your girl know. But Ethic, it's out of New Zealand, biodegradable, not tested on animals, all the good stuff. You can buy this cool little container that they fit in. The shampoo and conditioner are incredible. I hate bar shampoos and conditioners, and I love those. I didn't want to like them, and I did. So there you go.
So this one is from Gabby. Mm-hmm. Regarding freelance design and illustration on the road, as I'm attempting to branch out, what were some steps you took to get started and build relationships with clients?
Ooh, that's a big question. Okay, so Gabby's asking about branching out as a freelance designer to get work. So I do graphic design and illustration. Owen does motion graphics and graphic design as well. Some steps that we took to branch out. So we made sure that our business was self-sustaining before we went on the road. So we had like the benefit of time. I would say that process took a couple of months for Owen, and it took me a year and a half to get my business kind of off the ground. But I'm 2 years behind him in the professional working world, so give me a break. So some of the steps, I really believe in working with like-minded people, like-minded companies, because I think that at the end of the day, they're getting the best out of you, and you're giving your best because you're working in a good environment for your work. And so I reached out to a lot of people that I wanted to work with. But otherwise, I would say that a lot of my work has been come about through word of mouth, which is really amazing because people are coming to you because they've heard something great about what you do, which is always feels good. And then it feels like your clients are really stoked on you and what you do. But I would say reach out to people that you feel like your style fits. Be really authentic when you reach out to them, and just be like, look, I really dig what you do. I hope that you dig what I do. Maybe we can do those things together. I'm a creep, but that's how I did it. Okay.
I lost track of who asked this question, but someone asked, in light of the current situation, do we have any plans of returning to typical jobs?
Oh. Okay, so somebody asked, in light of the situation, do we Have we thought about it?
I say no.
We haven't thought about it. Haven't thought about returning to normal desk jobs. I will say that I don't thrive in that environment by any stretch of the imagination. The good thing is, okay, so when all of this started to go down a couple weeks ago, it was really scary to all of a sudden see all this work kind of vanish into thin air. And there were some very big projects that we had been working on for almost, like, for projects that we had been working on getting for almost a year. And it was because they were projects that, like, we've been trying to diversify the type of work that we do. I personally feel like I am better. I think I might be ADD or something, but I am better when I'm working on a bunch of different types of projects. I feel like I'm more focused. And so over the last couple of years, I would say that our income and the different sources of our income has changed. If we were only making money from being freelance designers, we would be in a world of hurt right now. Because most of our income of that description was the type of stuff that up and left. But the good thing is that we have other clients, like the more social media type stuff, which is just like, I don't know how to talk about it because it's weird. But like the influencer stuff, the YouTube stuff, it's been a really viable source of income for us recently. And those are going to be the sources of income that I think are probably going to see us through all of this. But the good thing is we have had some more work come in, and I don't think that it will ever get to the point where we will need to start looking for a 9-to-5, more traditional type job, luckily, because I think that somebody else, I didn't write it down, but they were curious if this is something that we're like seeing ourselves do indefinitely. And the answer is we're going to do this indefinitely as long as it makes us happy. And I think that we at least are looking at the next like 5+ years. I mean, the thing is there's so much that we want to see, so much that we want to do. And to me, I think that by pursuing a desk job, we would be not stunting, but it feels like we'd be giving up on our goals and everything that we've worked for. So I think that we are lucky enough that we've diversified our income enough over the last couple of years to weather this storm and to come out on the other side all right. So let's hope that that continues to be the case.
You need a question?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. It is from Jay. If you could only have one means of contact to people like us, which one would you use? Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook?
Ooh, okay. If we could have one means of contact with you guys, our following, what would it be? And Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook? Facebook, bye. See you later. I would say Facebook is essentially, it's the same thing as our Instagram. It's just in a different format. Personally, I would, oh, that's a tough one. I would say I get more enjoyment out of Instagram because I think that we're both static image based people. I think that photography is more of a passion for us than video work is. But I also, you guys, I want to be a travel show host when I grow up. And so to me, this is kind of an outlet for that. So I would be pretty torn between the two, but we're kind of late to the YouTube game. It's still kind of new to us. So I don't feel like I can really make a distinction between those two, but Instagram has been a love of ours for a really long time because we just love beautiful places, beautiful pictures. And I think that Instagram can be a really great source of inspiration. And that's why I really like it. And that's it, right? Maybe right now, that's what I would choose. Okay. Question me.
Okay. Amy and Joe wanted to know if you
Amy and Joe, hello.
If you could talk about your placement in your family as far as siblings goes and how you feel about it. I don't know exactly what they mean by that.
Okay.
They didn't elaborate.
So Owen and I are both the oldest of two, Chirin. Our siblings are actually the same age and are younger than us. But otherwise, my brother is in the Army and just was recently stationed to Alaska, which is one of our motivations to get up to Alaska. No, let's just be real. He is our motivation to get to Alaska. And then Owen's sister is a copywriter, and she lives in Atlanta, Georgia, which is where we lived before we went on the road. I like to think they're proud of us. I don't know if that answers the question, but anyways, those are our siblings.
So that's an hour.
That's an hour. We can do a couple more minutes.
I don't have any more questions.
You don't have any more questions?
So I think that's...
Okay, we're good. Well, thanks, guys. Everything's really weird right now, and I just hope that, you know, everybody's doing okay, and that we can provide at least a little bit of a distraction in all of this. But continue to be well. We're going to continue to sit here in Southern California and bide our time, and the first opportunity we have to get back to doing what we care about will be the minute that we start moving again. So take care of you guys. Take care of yourselves. And we'll see you guys soon. And again, look out for that video that's coming out on Tuesday. Bye. Owen says bye too, even though he's camera shy.